Hey, what's going on, DDO players? Axel here. So today we're going to talk about really the only newsworthy thing from the past couple weeks, and that is lag. So lately in DDO, there's definitely been a higher than normal amount of lag or performance issues. Lag not being the technical term for it, but it's what everyone tends to call it. But anyways, there's been a lot of people complaining about it for good reason, especially now when everyone's stuck at home, really playing probably more DDO than they usually do. It's too bad that we're getting a lot of lag now. It's a really bad time to get it. But I wanted to go through in this video a lot of the posts that developers have been making and discussing, and just to give you guys the info and get you up to date and really just talk about lag in general in this video. So lag is a thing that happens. It's common in DDO, but really bad. What I'm talking about, really bad instances of major performance issues after certain patches is something that seems to happen every once in a while. I think looking back, the worst one I can really remember is when Thunderhome came out and there was tons of lag for really a long time in certain raids, especially. I remember the Fire of the Just had a lot of lag issues. I remember running, fighting Aglarasa in, that Thunderhome raid for a long time. That raid really, probably, I don't know. I haven't run that raid in quite a while, so it's probably still laggy. But it seems like specific instances of a cross game lag like this tend to happen. And from what they're telling us, and we'll go through the post here in a second, we're understanding here is that there's a lot of changes they make to the code, and DDO's code is it's really old. It's what people refer to as spaghetti code, where there are just there's code on top of code on top of code, and it's all intertwined, and making one little change here in an update can cause something else to happen, which is bad. It can cause lag, or it can cause just some weird issue. So that seems to be what has happened. It's not a hardware issue from what they're telling us, from what I understand from their posts here. It is just something, they did something in a recent update that caused the lag, and they're kind of having to work backwards in the code and the changes they made and figure out what it is. So that's why it's taking a while. They don't know what it is, and they're trying to figure out what the problem is. And it's just not that easy. It's not a matter of them, say, like replacing a piece of hardware with a more powerful piece of hardware on their end. It's a complex thing. It's trying to find an answer in a big slew of problems. And so that's essentially what's happening. But they have said that they are working on it as their top priority. So there's really no point to going into the forums or calling support and complaining about it, because they know about it and they're working on it. And they released one patch last week, and they're going to release another one, which they are actually going to throw on Lamania first, just to be sure it doesn't screw anything up. So they want to throw it on Lamania to make sure that it's not something that breaks the game. So if it does break the game, it's only going to break the preview server, and then they can fix it, as opposed to them skipping a preview and just putting it straight on the live servers. Whereas if there's something wrong with it and it breaks the game, that would be a really big problem. So to play it safe, they're going to throw it on Lamania first, it sounds like. But let's go ahead and get into some of the quotes here. So here's a post that Kokomo Jobo made on April 3rd. So this is the end of last week. This is what he had to say. We understand that performance issues in-game have been widespread for the past couple of weeks. Here are the steps we have already taken to address this, followed by the steps that we are in the process of taking. Changes were made on Tuesday, March 31st, that resolved some inefficiencies in various features throughout the game client that have reduced, but in no way eliminated, both client-side and server-side performance issues and crashes. Since the deployment, we have continued monitoring and investigating. On Thursday, April 2nd, we identified a virtual machine cluster that makes up Galanda that was in stress, and migrated Galanda off of that into a healthier environment. This appears to have stabilized the worst of the lag being experienced, but in no way do we believe it has eliminated the issue. Then he has to say that internally, we are preparing a possible second patch meant to reduce increased performance issues on our physics engine that we have traced to a recent update. So that's the patch I referred to earlier. We let me see. We considered deploying this to live immediately before the weekend, but determined that the risk associated with such a change was too high to do so without ample caution. As a result, this change will first be featured on Lamania during the second preview of Update 46 this coming Tuesday. If the preview goes well, then we will attempt to get the change out to live servers as soon as possible. And then he goes on to say this is not a guarantee it's going to fix all the lag, but it's what they're doing. And I think another thing to realize is that it's harder for them to fix this kind of stuff just because of the whole thing. The health issue in the country, which I can't say because YouTube will demonetize this video, but because of the whole health issue that's going on in the world and in the US right now, they obviously can't work in the office, so they're obviously not going to be able to be as efficient working from home as they could be in the office because they don't have access to certain tools and things. So, it's unfortunate that this timing happened, that all this is kind of going down when they're trying to offer this game all for free, when they're trying to offer, because right now through April 30th, it's all the content is free for everyone, all the quests and expansions. So, and they also, by the way, commented that is not the reason for the lag. So it's not because of all the new players. It's something they changed in the code when they updated the game. So, yeah, so it's too bad that this is all happening right now, but it does seem like, they're working on it. So, lag it's upsetting. It's frustrating. I know for me personally, what I've been experiencing the past couple weeks is that really the past week, from what I can remember, is it's really varied. So I was running some Keep on the Borderlands in a full group, and I was experiencing a lot of the lag issues. So a lot of rubber banding. That's when your character will be running, and then all of a sudden it'll rubber band you back to where you were a few seconds ago. I was experiencing a lot of that. There was a few situations instances where the group was just locked for 5 to 10 seconds. That was probably the worst. And then when I was in Sharn in the public area, it was just locked for 10, 20 seconds at least, I would say, where you couldn't move. I don't know if that was probably a server-wide lock, or it could have just been an instance-wide lock. I'm not sure, but that's basically what I've been experiencing in groups. But when I've soloed, I've been soloing a lot too, and I've not really seen any lag issues when I'm soloing. Also, one thing that was weird is after the patch, I ran a epic chronoscope in a full group, so a full raid, and didn't experience any lag at all. So it's been really up and down. I don't know what that has to do with, but it's been kind of all over the place for me. Sometimes it's really laggy. Sometimes I'll log in and it'll be fine. They have been transparent about this. And one other thing I want to point out, which I thought was funny, is that there's a thread. And I was thinking about doing a forum talk video on this, but there just wasn't enough to say. But here's a thread that someone made, let's see, a couple weeks ago. It was on actually it was a week ago today as I'm recording this. A thread kind of complaining about the lag, where this guy said, for the amount of time I wasted lagging in quests, I want a Sovereign XP pod. And it's funny because I don't know if it was in response to this thread, but the developers did, or not the developers, but the SSG did give everyone a free Sovereign XP pot, which is I think it's a plus 50% XP for 6 hours. So they actually did this, and they didn't comment in this thread again. So it could have just been a big coincidence that they plan to do that all along for this week, but I tend to doubt it. So it seems to me, if I had to guess, that they saw this thread and we're like, you know what? Yeah, we should probably give a really good free code this week, a free store sample this week, just because, of all this stuff that's going down. So they are trying to say sorry, and they've been transparent about it. So there's really nothing else that can be done. I mean, this is it's a small team of people working on a small game. So it is what it is, guys. So I would say just be patient. It'll get fixed. Hopefully this week. Hopefully they get the patch out and they get it to the service as soon as possible. Until then, just try it different times of the day. For me, certain times have been worse than other times. But guys, I think that's going to be about it for this video. So yeah, let me know what you've been experiencing in terms of lag. I would be interested in reading that, or any other comments you might have below. Yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one and take care.